Hello, and can you believe it? Only a year and a half after we booked, here we are on the P&O Cruises IONA, travelling into Stavanger on the first stop of our 7-night stay in the Norwegian Fjords. And I've got to say, I'm a little bit excited because this is the first cruise we've taken since 2017, and that's just far too long. So, the question I want to answer, and the answer that you should have by the end of this video, will be, are these ships too big? I mean, 5,500 passengers nearly, 1,500 crew. It's supposedly one of the biggest in the P&O cruise fleet, and we've been on some small ones, medium-sized ones, super big ones with Royal Caribbean. This is the biggest one we've been on yet with P&O, and the question I want to answer is, have they just got too big? So stay with me, and by the end of this video, you should have the answer, along with myself, hopefully. See you in a bit. And before I answer that question, I've got a confession to make. I'd already made my mind up. I'd decided that on this occasion, 5,000 passengers or thereabouts was just going to be over the top and too much. It's not the first time we've been on a big ship. We've been on Anthem of the Seas, we've been on Independence, which is slightly smaller, but you're talking, 3,000 or 4,000 people. Remember, we're full on this cruise. Remember, we're full on this cruise. They must be getting on to something like 5,000 passengers, maybe that around that number. And you wonder if that's just too many people in one place. And I've got to say, my conclusion is, it's actually not that bad. Are you just tripping over each other? And the answer is no. Actually, you're not. The thing is that despite having an extra 1,000 or so passengers, we've not really noticed they're on board. In fact, I don't think at any one time you see more than maybe 100. So look at the theatres, look at the restaurants, and yeah, at the peak times, 9 o'clock at night for dinner and the theatre show times, they're full. But then, you don't have any problem going to a London theatre and it being full. And you go to a big restaurant and it can be full, if it's a popular restaurant. You get a little bit of queuing outside the restaurant, maybe 20, 30 people at peak times. But it's not a lot, and those queues do go down very fast. One thing they are good at is shifting people. We've not sat anywhere and thought, how much longer? Another plus of having a big ship is they handle the weather a lot better than the smaller ones. So if you're the least bit worried about rocking around in the Bay of Biscay or roughing it on the North Sea, then a bigger ship actually wouldn't be a bad idea. So we're getting towards the end of the video, but we're not there yet, so don't disappear, because we've still got that question to answer. Are cruise ships getting too big? And specifically, is IONA too big? And I think the thing is, what they've done is they've increased the amount of public space, they've increased the number of restaurants to accommodate those extra people. The main part of the ship, the main reason why it's so big, is the number of cabins. And you don't get to see people in the cabins, do you? And I think the important thing is that while there are more people on board and it's a bigger ship, in proportion, it's no different to a smaller ship. We used to go on the Oceana, which was maybe a half or a third of the size of this, with only a couple of thousand passengers. We loved it, but you still find that the buffets were full. At lunchtime you couldn't shift. The restaurants you had to queue sometimes to get in. The shows were crowded and people waiting to get seats. And actually, as I say, it's a pro rata thing. You're not noticing any major difference. We did notice on the Independence a few years ago that getting off was a problem. We haven't had any issues here. We've just walked off the ship and walked back on it. and that is really good. That's where I thought we were going to get bottlenecked trying to get off the ship. Actually, we've just strolled on and off and we haven't had any issues whatsoever. So I'm afraid, although I'd already made my mind up, I've got to say, big ships haven't made any difference whatsoever. So what I would say is, pick a ship, pick the ship that you feel is right for you, got the right amenities, got the right ambience, and then just go for it. Enjoy yourself, forget about everybody else. I would always say, hand on heart, avoid the buffet like the plague. One thing I will say about IONA is I don't know who designed their buffet layout, but it's abysmal. Really is. You've got lines clashing with each other, you've got plate collection areas on both ends of the buffet line so that they're meeting in the middle, and it's total mayhem. And then let's stick a few columns in the way so people can't get past. Absolute nightmare. People can be so impolite and rude when it comes to getting food, and they lean over you, they push you out of the way. It's a very, very unpleasant experience for us, and what we always say is go down to the main restaurants for lunch. You get better food, I think. You get it in a nice quiet environment, you get it served to you, and you probably actually get out faster. Apart from that, I think big ships, yeah, I can go with a big ship. So we're going to go and look for another big ship to book. That's the end of this video, and our next video is going to be what is it like to be a first time cruiser, and I've got just the person to ask. So stay tuned. I'm Robert from Rob and Sue, and I hope to see you very shortly, either on another cruise or who knows where we're going to book. So until then, see you later.